First, we want to start with the historic surrender, arrest, and arraignment of former President Donald Trump in New York. And this marks the first time in U.S. history a current or former president is facing criminal charges. He pleaded not guilty to 34 felony counts related to hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels.
M. Wynn is live outside the New York Supreme Court in Lower Manhattan to walk us through what happened today. M, tell us the latest.
Despite this indictment, Trump says he will continue his 2024 run for the White House. And here, heightened police presence remains after demonstrators had gathered all day across the street for this unprecedented arraignment. A historic moment as for the first time a former president of the United States turns himself in after being indicted by a Manhattan grand jury. The former president and now a criminal defendant walking the halls of the New York State Supreme Court, escorted by the Secret Service. Arrested, fingerprinted, and processed, appearing before Judge Juan Merchan, whom the former president has repeatedly attacked as a Trump-hating judge. Trump now charged with 34 felony criminal counts stemming from the alleged 2016 hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels. But that wasn't all. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg laying out in his indictment that Trump's alleged payments to Daniels were part of a pattern.
Donald Trump and others made 3 payments to people who claimed to have negative information about Mr. Trump. The participant scheme was illegal. The scheme violated New York election law, which makes it a crime to conspire to promote a candidacy by unlawful means.
David Pecker, the former publisher of the National Enquirer, appears to be a key witness. One part of the indictment claims that during Trump's transition into the White House, he privately met in Trump Tower with the National Enquirer's owner. The defendant thanked the tabloid's owner for handling the stories of the doorman and Woman One and invited him to the inauguration. Video cameras were not allowed inside the courtroom, but the judge did allow still photographers to take pictures before the unprecedented arraignment began. Trump pleading not guilty to all charges. His attorneys firing back after the proceedings were done.
Today's unsealing of this indictment shows that the rule of law died in this country, because while everyone is not above the law, no one's below it either. And if this man's name was not Donald J. Trump, there is no scenario we'd all be here today.
Trump returning to Florida, where he plans to hold a news conference tonight at his Mar-a-Lago estate.
And that was M. Wynn reporting. Now, most Americans approve of the indictment against the former president. And taking a look at a poll from CNN, 60% of those polled said they approve of the grand jury's decision to indict. And when you look at those results by party, more than 90% of Democrats approve and more than 60% of independents approve. Now, among Republicans, less than a quarter approve. More than 3/4 of Americans believe politics played at least some role in the decision to indict the former president.
Stay with Denver 7 as we will stay on top of any new developments on this case. World News Tonight with David Muir will also have more on the former president's arraignment coming up at 5:30.